Hey everyone, Chris here. It is time to fix our autopilot. So we have the Raymarine wheel-mounted unit, and honestly, I don't like it. I wanted to get the actuator arm one last time when we bought this one, but I made a mistake. I thought you could. I thought that the central control unit was the same for all of them, and that you could just buy it and then replace the motor with the other motor later on. Turns out the central unit is different for each of those, so we have to now buy a whole new unit. This would be great on a smaller boat, like if we were like probably up to 30 feet, I would guess, but we're just too big, and we sail in rougher weather than I think this was intended for. When we turn it on, here, let's I'm going to point right at the motor. The actual motor, it goes to the back, and you use this to go in and go out of gear. But I'm going to turn it on. Let's listen real careful. I hear something. It's like a tapping sound. So I don't know if it's the motor. It might be something in there. Turn that off. So we're going to troubleshoot. We're going to take the motor off and see if the motor spins. And then if the motor spins, then we know it's inside of the unit. If the motor doesn't spin, then we might try just swapping the motor, because taking this thing off the wheel is a pain in the rear end. All right, wire off, and then this just unscrews like so. The first major failure of our autopilot was this unit. We unscrewed it. It stopped working, and all the gears fell out and like spilled all over the floor. So we couldn't just buy a new motor, we had to buy the whole new assembly. And at the time, everything was out of stock. It ended up being, that's a little wet in there. I wonder if this seal messed stuff up. All right, that seems to be working fine. And then when I switch directions, it switches directions. Off comes the wheel piece, and then we have to shake this out. I don't know, it's starting to look like these gears are all broken off. So I think I'm gonna take it apart and take a closer look. I forget what size they are, but we'll find out in a moment. It occurred to me that Raymarine probably doesn't use freedom units, so I went and got my metric set. 5 millimeters later, we have taken all of these off. So now it'll come right apart. Let's see what we got. Nervous. I'm gonna break this open, and oh, I hear something rattling in there. All right, let's see what we got. I don't know where this screw came from, but it was rattling around in here. I wonder if it was just jammed. All right, so first thing is the belt. Check the belt, because also never buy an off-brand belt, always buy the right belts. We learned that one the hard way. I don't know, do you think it's working? Could it really have been that simple? All right, so our spare unit doesn't have a belt on it. So you can tell the real belt is yellow and costs $1 bazillion, and the fake belt from Amazon is black and will break in about 20 minutes. And definitely buy the authentic one. Go off with these. I hate putting belts on these. Oh, because this thing's impossible to get back on. All right, that's a good sign. Oh, got him in. I'm at a total loss. I don't even know anything on the boat that uses that screw. And I know I've swapped these out before. All right, action plan of action. We are going to put this bad boy back together, and put the spare back together, and put the motor on the other one just so we have the motor handy. That was weird. The thing I hate about putting this back together is you have to line, so these, when they're not locked, these move, and the screws have to screw into here. They have to screw through these and through these. So you're lining up like 3 things. and it's a pain in the rump. So let's see if we can't do it. Easiest way to do this is to look for the arrows. Little tiny arrow there, and there's one in here. Where did it go? There it is. So line this one up first, and then hopefully, if whoever did this originally did it right, they'll all line up. So line that up and pray. Let's see how we did. All right, time to put the wheel back on. A couple of things to keep aligned. One, this is the spot for the key, and this is the spot for the autopilot anchor. So what do we got? Well, there's the key, don't lose that. And then there's the autopilot anchor. So let's start getting this bad boy on. Autopilot works. So I'm gonna dig into the other one later at my leisure, down below where it's warm, and see, like, did we really strip those gears and why? Was it the random screw that was rattling in there? That's not a bad hypothesis, but where did it come from? We don't even have those screws on the boat. And I don't think it's from the unit itself. And then, or was it that we were in too much rough weather and like asking the autopilot to do too much? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we've just been asking too much of the autopilot, and we've been stripping those gears over the past couple of months. Anyway, now the boat is fixed. We can go, but it's going to be cold and no wind for the next couple of days. So I think we're going to wait a few days. And then we can go to shore, to the grocery store, and get more diesel because we burned through all our spare diesel. We certainly have enough to motor the whole way to Fernandina Beach, but I like to always have double the diesel we need in case we have to do that. Anyway, whew, another big boat. When it's time to go to shore, we have to go right about there. So we're gonna look both ways before crossing that street, that's for sure. And we're gonna make sure we got a little radio. Holy moly. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go down and warm up because it is still so cold up here. So carry a spare autopilot if you have a wheel unit. And if we were offshore, like we were only 30 miles offshore. So when this happened, I was just like, screw it. We just pointed to shore, came to Charleston because that's where we were. So we always make sure we have multiple bug out spots when we're going to be, 30 to 50 miles offshore. And actually, even if in the ICW, I make sure I review all the anchor spots in between where we are and where we're going. And this has happened offshore before, and it was calm conditions. So we just locked the wheel, went adrift for a little bit. I swapped out the entire wheel unit. This one would have been bad because I didn't put the, that's how these got switched. The belt broke on the other one. And so I swapped them, and I hadn't put the new belt on the new one. So, Anyway, I'm still thinking we're gonna get the actuator arm so that it's a little stronger because I don't want these gears to break again. So be safe. Hope everyone's having a good day. And I will chat with you later. Bye.